Hello, today we're going to go over Program 1, the patio pavers, and how to actually code the program. As you can see, I have created a brand new Visual Studio project, Nelson P1, and I'm going to add a new item, which is going to be my file that I'm going to code in, and we're going to call it driver. I'm going to add my name, my email, and the program title. Well, I'm not so good at typing. There we go. Patio pavers. Then I'm going to put in the name of my file, driver.cpp. As you probably remember, from Hello World, we're going to write our entire program in main. Well, only, there we go. And the last statement in the program will be return 0. So everything goes in between here. We're also going to communicate with the user, so we're going to need to include the IOStream library. And we're going to invoke using namespace standard so we won't have any trouble using cin and cout. Looking at the spec, it says first declare the variables needed, then write the class header and ask the customer to enter the patio's width and length. So let's talk about variables. We have a number of constants that we're going to be using in this program, because we have the cost of one paver, the cost of a scoop of gravel, we have the cost of a bag of sand, we have the gravel depth, which is 4 inches, we have the sand depth, which is 1 inch. Whoops. There we go. We have a conversion of cubic inches to feet, and we know that's correct because we know there are 12 inches in a foot, and so a square foot is 12 times 12, and a cube made of a foot on a side would then be 12 times 12 times 12, which is 1728. We know that the scoop volume is 8.5 cubic feet, and the sand volume is 0.4 cubic feet. So these are constants that we will use later on in our calculations. So let's declare some variables. How about the patio dimensions? And those would be, let's see, double length and double width. We always try to initialize our variables because C++ doesn't do it for us. So now let's ask, let's start with the header. Nelson, CIS 1275, Program 1. And this is going to be the patio paver. calculator. Okay, hopefully that'll turn out okay. We'll see. Now we need to ask the user the length and width of their patio. And I'm going to whoops. Okay, I guess that's length, huh? Got that right. And then in order to get input from the console, we write cin. And the arrows go the opposite way as they do with cout. And we're going to cin length. So the number that the user put in is going to go into the length variable. And we ought to tell the user that they need to enter it in feet. And then I'm going to copy and paste those, and I'm going to change length to width, and also here. My typing is not always so good, but maybe my copy and paste isn't so great either. But anyway, what's the next thing to calculate? We're going to have to calculate the square footage of the patio. So let's look at that. We'd like to have the patio square footage in let's start with square footage. So double square feet is equal to length times width. But we would like that to be in inches. So we're going to call that double patio area in inches is equal to, whoops, I can't do that. Square feet times, oh, and I suppose I need one more of these. I'm going to say constant int feet to inches equals 144. So that's going to be feet to inches. It's going to convert our square feet to square inches. Okay, so how big is a brick? I guess I don't have that in my list of constants either, do I? Constant int paver length is 8, and constant int paver, whoa, capitals, and that's 4. There we go. So now we know that paver area is going to be paver length times paver width. Okay, got that. And if we know, and that is in inches already. So double the number of pavers is going to be the patio area in square inches divided by the paver area. Does this sound familiar from your test cases? This should be very, very familiar to you because we've already done this. Okay. So we also need to calculate the extra pavers for 10% waste. So do that here. And then we're going to calculate the total number of pavers. Don't forget that we have to use the ceiling function and then the static cast function. So what's that going to look like? We're going to get some double total num pavers, and we're going to have calculated that. Okay? That equals num pavers plus pavers. Let's see. Plus extra pavers. So you're going to calculate the extra pavers. Now we want to make sure that we round up to the next single paver. So we're going to have int, let's see, what shall we call it? Final num pavers is going to be, we're going to do the ceiling function on the pavers. And whatever that double number is, the ceiling will give us the next closest even number. So if it's 16.5, it'll give us 17. And then we have to cast it into an integer. Okay, so we've calculated the total number of pavers. We've used the ceiling function, and then we've cast it, and this is how many pavers we're going to have to buy. Actually, we can calculate the cost of the pavers right now. The final number of pavers times paver cost. All done. Okay, now let's look at the base of the patio. We can do the gravel first. Okay, this time we're not looking at the square footage, we're looking at the volume. Double gravel volume is going to be equal to the patio area in inches times gravel depth. And that is going to be in cubic inches. We're going to need it in cubic feet. So, double gravel volume feet is gravel volume, and cubic inches to cubic feet is right here. Okay, and Now we need to calculate how many scoops we're going to need. And that's going to be the gravel volume in feet divided by scoop volume. Not too bad. And we need to do the same thing we did with the pavers, and that is round up to the nearest scoop. So that's going to be int final number of scoops is going to be static cast int, just like we did before. It's the same pattern. Seal of num scoops. There we go. And we can find double cost gravel is going to be final number of scoops times gravel cost. Look at that, how that's working for us. Whoops, I need a semicolon. Similarly, calculate the numbers for sand. Okay, so that's your job. Finally, the total cost, and that's going to be double sand cost. You're going to calculate that. Okay, total cost is going to be what? The paver cost? Cost of pavers, oh, capital P, here we go. There. Plus cost of gravel plus cost of sand. Oh, I called that sand cost. Let's make it consistent. There we go. Those are all the calculations you have to do. Let me make some notes in here. And this one right here. I'm not yelling at you. I'm only putting this in caps so that you can see it. Okay? Now we're going to have to display the results to the user. And that will be a lot of C-outing. First, set precision on C-out. That means that no matter how big the number is or how many decimal places, because doubles have what, 15 decimal places, we're only going to display 2. So C-out dot, whoops, missed precision 2, not 22, and that tells us that it's going to give us, at the moment, 2 digits. C-out set flags, ios fixed That tells us it's not going to be in the exponential format. And IO's show point, make sure we see a decimal. Those two statements together will give us floating point output formatted so that it'll have two decimal places. Okay, so I'm going to do the first part of this for you. First, we're going to summarize what we started with. The patio dimensions. Leave a couple of spaces so they aren't, oops, and spell C out right. So everything's not all crowded up. Length. And now you have to put in the dimensions by width, whoops, we need a space in there too, for a total area, area of. And now I'm going to go to the next line, and I don't have to put a semicolon here because I'm continuing this statement. And what do I have? I have do I have the patio area in square feet? I sure do. It's called square feet. Square feet. Okay. Now I'm going to say that pavers cost, and you have to put your own dollar sign in there. And how much do they cost? Pavers cost right here, paver cost. Each pavers required are, what did we start out with? Num pavers. Plus 10% extra. Whoops, one R. One extra of, and back to the next line again. 10% extra of, how much was the extra? Oh, you have to calculate that. Extra pavers. A total of, and how many are the total pavers? Final num pavers. Cost of, and what was our paver cost? Right here. Okay, now you will back here. You do the gravel, sand, and total cost. Finally, say goodbye. Thanks for using our C++ paver calculator. And I don't like to end up smashed up against that message, so I'm going to give it a couple more spaces. And return 0. We are done. We are actually done. Okay, so you guys finish up the program. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or get a hold of me during office hours. Bye.